Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing a KAYTO fishing vest that I use when I go lure fishing to a few places where it's not easy for me to bring my normal tackle bag and sort of sit it on the bank of the river or the lake or estuary that I'm fishing at, as I do tend to sort of walk maybe a few hundred meters or even further, or I wade out to sort of waist deep water in one specific area. So the easiest thing for me in those times is to have everything in a fishing vest, and I just thought I'd show you what I have in my vest and how I use it. It's only something I've been starting to use the last sort of couple of years. I think I probably purchased this probably about 2 years ago. Before that I was just sort of maybe taking out a very small amount in my pockets, leaving everything in the car or on the bank, and then having to go back and forth, which I found quite frustrating at times. So I ended up buying this KAYTO vest, which is actually a kayaking vest. Wearing a fishing vest seems to be pretty old school these days, and they can be a little bit hard to find. Of course, with the boom in kayak fishing, these kayaking vests are pretty readily available, although at the moment I've found them a little bit hard to find as well. So this was on sale at the time. I think places were just sort of starting to get rid of them, as probably most of the people that were going to buy one had already bought one. So I hope the camera angle is going to be enough to show what I have in my vest. Today I'm doing, of course, a bit of hands-free work. So the first item I have on my vest is, of course, my main knife here. Not only do I use that for fishing, but just as a bit of a safety mechanism, in case some of the areas I go to have feral dogs, snakes, stuff like that. So it's a good idea just to carry something. I just feel a little bit safer having something like that on my vest, and of course it always comes in handy for fishing. The other obvious components here are some braid scissors, which come on these little springs, which are great, so even I can go hands-free and drop them if I have to, which has happened before. They quite comfortably pack away and slot into the vest. At the moment I'm pretty happy with these items that I do have in my vest, but I am going to possibly upgrade them in the future. On my other side is a pair of pliers, and these are pretty heavy-duty pliers. I just want something to be able to get a hook out of a fish, or repair a lure or something like that. And these come in quite handy. They're probably a little bit heavier than what I planned to have, but at the time was what I had. In the future, I may also replace these with something a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller. And the scissors I haven't been 100% happy with, so I may switch those out. The next item I have here is a fish gripper, which just comes off like so, and of course it's pretty self-explanatory. You can grip the fish in its mouth. The main fish I target when I wear this vest is flathead, so they do have I wouldn't say it's poisonous spike, but they do have a venomous spike which can do a bit of damage to you, and of course the usual spikes. These little fish grippers are really handy. I think from memory they're only about $5. They're only a little plastic one, but again I have it tied to my vest so I can go hands-free with it. And they do come in really handy. There's a little clip there for those to sit there quite nicely. Another thing I do have is a holder net, so if I do catch a fish that I want to keep and I want to continue fishing and not go back to the edge of the water or where I'm based, I can just put a fish in this and dangle that down into the water, and the fish is kept alive and fresh. I can always put it back if I wish. or yeah, keep it for later. It keeps it cool in the hot weather, and yeah, it's quite a handy item to have. Sometimes I actually don't take this. It's probably the one item that I find a little bit annoying. It sort of hangs down here. Maybe there might be a little bit better way for me to attach that. Now to the back, I have a net system here. I'm going to try and show you, but I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's actually held on by a magnet system. So when I want to actually use it, I just give it a tug. And then in this hand I have the net. It just has a little magnet on the top here. It's also attached to my vest. Again, I can let it go down into the water if I have to. And then it's quite an easy situation just to bring it around to my back. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. And connect it back onto the magnet there. And it's quite out the way. It's not obtrusive at all. It's quite high up on my back, so it doesn't really get wet or damaged or snagged up on a bit of weed as it flows past, which this net actually does tend to do on occasion. And now down to the important stuff, I guess. In these two pockets here, I have my lures. I usually have them sort of separated into two groups. These are saltwater primarily. Usually on one side I would have perhaps blades, and on the other side sort of bibbed minnows, for example. At the moment they're a little bit mixed up, but in each of those pockets, yeah, I have two lots, which carries quite a lot of lures, different colours and shapes and sizes. And behind them is another smaller pocket, which holds another small box, which I have my clips and swivels, all the little bits and pieces you need or will need to replace when you're actually out there fishing. And they sit sort of, I've got two of those boxes and they sit behind those lures, and then they sit in there pretty well. They didn't come with the vest, I had to buy them myself. But everything I've bought sort of does tend to sit pretty well in there. I do have another couple of pockets up here and here, which I tend to put my mobile phone in one, which is kept pretty safe and secure. It's not going to fall out or really get wet unless I go for a swim. I do also put it in a Ziploc bag. The other side, I generally don't put too much in it, perhaps anything important from my wallet. These two also have a little clip, so other things can be attached to that clip and put inside so you don't lose them. So yeah, this vest certainly has no shortage of clips and pockets, loops. Yeah, a lot of places here to put different items. In the little side pockets here, I have some leaders, like fluorocarbon leaders for, of course, making the leaders. And on the other side, the other small pocket here, I usually have my tape measure. I'm not sure if I've taken it out or not. Yes, there's a tape measure as well for obviously measuring any fish that I'm after. Also in the rear, it has a pocket along here. In this pocket I usually carry sunscreen and fly or insect repellent, which comes in very handy for a couple of places that I fish at. You get a lot of mosquitoes and sandflies there, which give you some pretty hectic bites. There's also sort of room here to loop my fishing reel through, loop the handle through one side and sort of sit it through the vest. It's a bit hard to show you, but it is possible to do it, which allows you to be totally hands-free. If I do have a fish in my net, I can do that, put my my rod through the vest sort of on the outside here and sit it up. And it does allow me to basically be hands-free, which is quite handy. So yeah, it's actually a really handy vest. It does also have a little clip here which holds it together, so when you undo it, it doesn't flop open, which is really good. Or if you get really hot, you can unzip it and get a bit more airflow coming in. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you. This is a vest that I use. Perhaps someone out there's having the same problem that I used to have, where you used to find yourself a few hundred metres away from sort of your base area and have to trudge back when you lose a lure or catch a fish. I find it really handy to have a vest like this on. Even when you're just normally fishing, it can be handy just to carry it like this. It carries a reasonable amount of gear, and then you can have your hands free to carry some other stuff. You can always take it off then in that situation. But I'm finding it really handy, and yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys a bit of a look at it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it's inspired maybe someone out there to think about doing what they do maybe a little bit differently. If there's any improvements that you guys have you could recommend that you use in a fishing vest, yeah, I'd love to hear about it. If there's anything you can see that I should be doing maybe differently, that'd be great too. Any fresh ideas. Like I said, I've only been using this for a couple of years. Perhaps I've only used it maybe 10 times or something like that, so I don't use it a hell of a lot, but yeah, I do enjoy it when I do use it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you in my next video.